Okay, I think I'll go ahead and get started then. Welcome to this virtual arts education workshop titled, What's Your Superpower? My name is Kristen Evangelista. I'm the director of the William Paterson University Galleries. The Galleries is pleased to organize this event in collaboration with the university's Women's Center and the university's Women's History Month celebration. I'd like to briefly describe the format of today's event. Arts educator Nadia Estela will be leading the workshop. She will speak with you about an artwork from the permanent collection of the University Galleries and then present an activity. All participants will be muted during the event, and we encourage you to use the chat or the question box to ask any questions, especially if you have any technical difficulties. I'd like to thank the gallery staff, including Emily Johnsen and Taylor Cassisi, for assisting with planning this event and creating the kits, which hopefully you will be using today. We are also grateful to our arts educator, Nadia Estela, for conceiving and presenting this workshop. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Nadia. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nadia Estela. I am a visual artist. My practice is that of multidisciplinary, and I will be leading today's workshop on superpowers and masks. So today's artwork was based on Runaway Girls. Is one of the artworks found in the exhibition Weight of the Body, currently at the University Galleries. You are welcome to go and visit this exhibition, especially if you are on campus. I believe that they are open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. This exhibition will be closing towards the end of the month. So I really encourage you to go ahead and spend some time with it. The Weight of the Body, are selections of the permanent collection, and they are, the exhibit presents works from the University Gallery's permanent collection created by women artists to mark the centennial, the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment. With that, I want to read out loud the following. The 19th Amendment reads, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. And then that's the first line. The second line, which I find incredibly important, says, "Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation." And in that sentence, for me, I think that though there obviously this has granted the right to vote to women in 1919, it also brings to highlight the fragility of voting. It's in this specific sentence that says, "Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation," which, as we are witnessing with voting rights, it is a right that can be taken away and can be given to, depending on the situation. And there is the specific word of power in this amendment. I believe, in my personal opinion, there is always a violence attached to the word power. And I believe that this exhibition has done an excellent job in really digging into the violence that can often be attached to power, and the violence of how women are perceived, and also the the salaciousness that can be attached to language, especially when it's attached to a sexist ideals. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I may share I want to first go over the actual book. Okay, I thought I had this. So here you can actually view the weight of the body selections of the permanent collection in online. And I hope that aside from going to the university galleries, and this is what the page will look like. And not all the works are on there, but you can go in and you can kind of view some of the things that are being showcased. Let's see, this is where I was trying to go. Here we go. So Runaway Girls is by Robin Kahn and Sarah Blake. The artwork actually talks about an incident of runaway girls in 1717, which happened to be 2 years prior. Oh my goodness, I'm having my apologies. Here we go. So Sarah Blake actually extracted some of the language of the police reports in this incident, and so this is a artist book, which happens to be 100 editions, and this is number 16 of 75. So here, there's a total of 100 copies of this book, but 25 of them are 25 of them have extra pages attached to them. So the gallery only has one of the 75, and this happens to be number 16. So when we start looking at the book, there is an intimacy attached to the book, especially if you look here on the right-hand side. It looks as if this is a block print. It has this kind of essence of what a scrapbook might look like. So in scrapbooking is something that when we hold on to memories, right? So we begin the book in which it says, let us think of a story. We are a story. We are. This is a story. It continues with words by Sarah Blake, who is a poet and author. And Robin Kahn is actually the illustrator of this book. She's also attached to printed matter. And it says, my love, my house is a singing house and all its windows look to you. My love, my heart is a red, red boat. The sails stretch tight as it fills with you. My love, my hands are two white birds sent from my house to watch for you. So the author, both the author and the artist, essentially rewrite some of these police reports, and not only do they rewrite them, but also highlight some of the language and how not only to give power to those who have ran away, but also to expose those and how they see them. So this is a Sunday at 2 a.m. This is the beginning of the police report, and it says, number 1, age 15, but looks 18, short and heavy, light complexion, light brown eyes, a small round face with a mole on her left cheekbone. Dressed when she left here in dark tanned waist, trimmed with blue, black shirt, white hat, trimmed with tanned ribbon in front, black shoes, green stockings, red sweater. Very good looking. Ran away about 2 a.m. Sunday, August 12, 1917. Arrest and wire at your expense. As we see the quantification of the description, then there's this very striking line, very good looking, in which there is a quantification of the body. We also see at the very end where it says arrest and wire at your expense, at our expense, which is this idea of owning the body, of these girls who have ran away, and instead of giving them a safe haven, there is this idea of capturing, of holding, of owning. The next page reads, "Yup, I saw her out by the railway, walking slow. Was she a girl? More like a tramp to me, of course. I don't know about these things. I don't know." So right there, there's a deflection. There's a judgment and an immediate deflection. "What do you mean, plum?" Oh wait, good looking though, in a plum sort of way. "What do you mean, plum?" She was a plum, a fruit. So this idea of consumption, a piece of pie. She was a girl. A girl? Nah, not with a walk like that. Age 15, but looks 17. Slender, light, dressed in white. Silk waist, light tan skirt, white straw hat, black shoes. Again, the same word. Very good looking. One of the things that I noticed as I had time with this book was that in this photograph, for example, you're unable to see the eyes. There's this idea of hiding, but seeing hiding as this idea of protection. And in this, also in this print. And there's an intimacy. I mean, the artist also they decided to create a book, which meant, just like we are doing right now, we have to spend time with it. We have to look at it. We have to move the pages. There's a tactile ability to it. You have to pause to take in. It's not as if a work of art that you're looking straight at on the wall. There is an invitation to open, this almost like opening of a diary as well, which can at times be a violent action depending on who is opening the diary, right? And here we have Runaway Girls. These girls ran away from their home near this city about 2 a.m. Sunday morning. Arrest and wire at our expense. Come to see the boat on the lake. It's over and over and over again. Age 15, but looks 17. Threw her hat into the stream and stiff-backed walked away. Little girl, little one, I know where you are hiding. I do. Do you think I don't see you? How easily you cross the back lot and slip into the cypresses. And there's also this nostalgia attached to it as well. I think that the artist also really try to take into consideration when and what time this was happening. And again, we have the same, having the face covered in some way. So as we progress, we also see this idea, how can it be? Be what? A story. How can it be a story? How can it be a story if it's not written down? It's almost as if the authors and the author and the artist, because this is a collaboration, wanted to give power back to those who ran away, to give power back to those runaway girls. Okay, so here again is the beginning of the book. And I wanted to look at the choice of one of the first images being that of a superhero, essentially, this woman who's lifted up, right? And this idea of where we are today in 2021, over 100 years after the suffrage movement and all the different movements that have followed after that. The idea of, if we read the Constitution and we read the founding fathers, right? We constantly hear this, the founding fathers documents. It is guided specifically to white male property owners, and then in what happens to the language of that as the years continue, and how now in 2021 we are still grappling with that language, right? Having the 19th Amendment come in and say, no, you shall not discriminate based on sex. However, there is that small stipulation right at the bottom saying that Congress has the power to remove it or to interpret it, essentially. There is also one of the things that really struck me also about this particular book of Runaway Girls is this idea of layering, right? The layering that happens, even if we look back here, we see the roses on the bottom right and almost these collages. And there's also, it seems that there's a light print, always the black coming on at the as the last layer. However, the idea of building, and that takes me on to this idea of building, of wearing masks and the masks that we wear, and our individual superpower, right? Whether it is as being part of a community, what does it mean for me to be an artist? What is my responsibility to be an artist as part of my community? What it is for me to be a writer within my community? What it is to be an active individual within my community, that in how I present myself to others when I go outside, whether it is when I'm going out for a hike, and being respectful of nature and what that entails, and what I have to arm myself with, equip myself with as I decide to walk through the door. What is my cultural capital within society? How do I perceive myself? How do I perceive others in relationship to me? And again, this page here, you have this waistcoat, and you have the mask, right? And as how do we wear masks to protect ourselves? And how do we wear our masks to benefit the others and benefit ourselves as well. But again, this idea of layering is so intimate, and so I wanted to kind of go back a little bit before we start on the making of the mask, is how the book was made, right? So there's different printmaking techniques. This is an etching on plexiglass, and normally the way that works is that you would place, you will sketch onto or etch into the glass, and then you would place ink evenly onto the glass and rub it into the crevices of where those marks are. And here we see that it creates some sort of bird, and and later on you remove the ink. What that does, it creates a plate. You see it here at the bottom, the plexiglass or the etching plate, and you run it through a press with a sheet of paper, and what that does is that it extracts the ink onto the sheet of paper. It's normally used, this is here a letterpress, and you would roll it through. You would, on the right-hand side, you have here someone placing down the plate with the paper, and then the actual action of rolling that through. One of the things that happens when we are creating plates is that this is why it's normally in editions. So in this particular book, there's 100 editions. The more you run a plate, there is the pressure applied to the plate. Therefore, the quality of the image with time also disintegrates. So there's a memory, but the memory of the plate with time also is erased or is damaged, because you're applying a pressure, and those indentations, the original indentations that have been placed on the plexi or on the wood or any type of plate will essentially get flattened out, being run through the press of and the pressure between those plates. Here I also added a wood block, which here you would there's only two colors. So there you would have the yellow, and then the last would be the black, which is what we are looking at right here, is the impression of the black. Always when something is printed, black is the last color that goes on. And here you can tell that the yellow was the first one. And again, we go back to the idea of layering and masks. So I wanted to start our mask making and what that means, essentially, right? And so numerous supplies were provided by the gallery, I believe. And but I'm going to keep it quite simple. And this is another exercise of, I think it's always good, especially now since we're all in front of a screen all day for numerous hours at a time. And when we're typing and we're losing, in a sense, the idea of being tactile, of using our hands, of it also works another side of our brain, right? So I believe there was a study, I don't remember with quite that it said that handwriting actually allows us to use both sides of our brain. So with that, I'm going to have here my sheet of paper right here, and I'm going to just fold it in half. Make sure that those ends here, they match up, and just create a crease there. Since we are working with cardstock, we want to make sure that we fold it on the opposite way, because just like cardstock has a heavier tooth, so tooth just means that heavier stock, a heavier weight to the paper. so there's a lot of resistance. So I like to once I fold it on both sides, just pull. Oh, thank you. I forgot to. And so we're gonna go ahead and just cut our paper in half. Now that we are here, I am going to fold my first piece in half one more time. And so you should have sort of like a book here. And then the last thing I want to do, I want to bring my right flap into the center, like so. And my left right into the center as well. And fold it one more time. So this is what it should look like at this point. We're going to go ahead and fold that back. And we're going to have an opportunity to do that a second time. So you're going to go ahead and fold that back like so. So you want it to kind of look like a W facing you. So then the other thing I'm going to do here, I am going to make my eyes actually first. So I'm going to make a semicircle, but I want it to be pretty big. Okay, like so. And using that semicircle as a guide, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my eyes out. I think this is a nice shift from all the Zoom meetings and all the schoolwork that we're doing on computers right now. So right here, this is what our mask should be looking. Okay. Here, I am going to make space for my nose by cutting. So here we go, here. Okay. So that bottom left corner where the fold is, and then I'm gonna do it again on the top, like so. So the one on the bottom is considerably bigger than the one on the top, only because you're gonna need a lot more room for your nose area. Okay, and so this is what I have so far. Okay, I'm gonna redo that again. So I'm gonna put this one here, and I'm gonna do that one more time. So I'm going to fold my paper in half. For those of you who might have not picked it up that first time when I first did it. And now that I have that middle crease, I'm going to fold my right sheet into my crease, and I'm going to do it again with my left. Okay, so it should look like a nice little book. I'm going to fold that back, like so. So this is where I am right now. I'm going to go ahead and fold that back. And I'm going, now here's my crease here. All right, my fold. That's going to be facing me, and I'm going to draw that large semicircle in the middle of my paper. And I'm going to use that as a guide to cut my semicircle. Okay. That's what I have right here. That's what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead, just like I did before, I'm going to cut a right triangle on that fold and one on the top as well. So here I have my 2 masks. Here, I'm going to start to decorate my mask. I'm gonna grab some of my colored pencils and, some of the things that how do we protect ourselves? What are the things, what are our superpowers that we use in day to day? What are the things that bring us joy, right? That not just bring us joy, but give us the stamina to do the work that needs to get done, right? One of the things that I indulge in regularly, and it gives me the stamina for me to be a better mother or a friend or a partner, is not just I meditation, but also I like to sit. I have a place where I have all my plants, and I sit there and I nourish them, and they nourish me in a sense. So I'm going to give time and to one of my masks, to nature, especially even today. It's gorgeous out today. If you have an opportunity to go for a walk and just experience the beginning of spring, especially after all the different snowstorms we've had and all the dark and gloomy days, to go outside and to use it to energize ourselves to, okay, I can breathe now. I can breathe. I can tackle my to-do list. So I'm going to start with some vines. And again, this is supposed to be relaxing. This is, you can use this as a time to kind of disconnect from all the different responsibilities too. And acknowledge the heavy language, right? The heavy language that also exists. The responsibilities that we have to the other, to our community, to our fellow students, to our faculty. How do we make the spaces into safe spaces for ourselves and those around us? So I'm just going to, I'm starting off with some vines here. And, when I thought of this too, I was like, oh, we just, we're also a couple of weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago was Mardi Gras as well. I was thinking about that too, and how masks can also be almost a portal. So I'm going to, and again, I'm going to add some yellow onto this too. on this side, I'm going to make some flowers. How do I grow? And I believe that you guys had quite a bit of things that was provided for you. And I want you to think about the things that are really important to you in your community. And if there's a way for you to incorporate that into your mask. I know that this is what I'm personally doing, but use this as an opportunity to be creative, especially since, like I mentioned before, we're all on screens and we seldom have opportunities to do so right now, to just use our hands, besides maybe the occasional cleaning or washing the dishes. Yeah, we're using our hands there. But to use our hands in a creative way is not something that is easily done unless we make time for it, right? And it appears that time, especially as I think about it's been 100 years since the 19th Amendment passed, right? And that's not very long ago. We sometimes forget how young of a country the United States is, and that this is still it continues to be an ongoing experiment. I'm going to sew onto this some beads. And again, remember you have more than one. I might not get, let me see. This 20 minutes ago. So I went ahead and I threaded a needle prior to. And I'm going to add some beads to my mask. You know, the idea of women's work, the idea that certain forms of making are not seen as important as others. And that narrative it also is, again, what's it called? What's the word? You know, at the end of the day, these are all narratives of power. But there has been a big shift in, I think, within our institutions, and really honoring makers like Faith Ringwald, who made quilts, or you see the work now of Sam Biggards that also repurposes quilts. And I am one that see it as a form, not just of honoring my ancestors, but also of rebellion against what is art. So I love to always add any kind of beating to whatever I'm making, or an element of sewing. And for me, my mother was a seamstress, or is a seamstress, and she worked in the factories, the textile factories in Newark, New Jersey. And I remember as a child, having to go pick her up from with my father, and what it looked like and what she would smell like, and all these ideas of memory and scrapbooking, essentially holding on to narrative, I think is important. So I'm going to, I kind of like where that's going, so I'm going to do a couple more. And then I'm going to fill it in for my first one. So you can just put your beads right on the paper, which is nice because using the cardstock, you obviously wouldn't be able to do this on a piece of paper, of like a printing paper, but you can with the cardstock because it's heavy enough to hold the piercing of the paper. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for right now, and I'm going to grab some. One thing is that my shape is very geometric, and I don't find that it goes with the mask, so I'm gonna change that. So I'm going to change the shape of my mask to look a little bit more organic and less geometric. I'm gonna take this excess kind of mimic this flower. Always the easiest way is always to do this. can just fold it and create an identical shape. I'm gonna add what a really good friend of mine calls. She says, "Oh my goodness, I hate using glitter," which she's like, she calls it the herpes of arts and crafts, which is it's funny. It's an ongoing joke that we have, as maybe as crass as it might sound. Because it gets absolutely everywhere. So of course that would be the last thing I do with this mask. So there goes one. And then, yeah, like I said, it gets absolutely everywhere. Let's take this out. And in my second one, I think I'm going to go a little bit. How do we honor those who came before us? Where is our power? I kind of want this to kind of look like it's exploding, so I'm going to do a lot of cutting. Again, this is an opportunity to be as creative as you would like to be. I'm just going to cut into it to kind of look like an explosion. Right now, there's an excellent exhibition besides the one already at William Paterson called What We Are When We Are Unbound. Is from the Feminist Incubator, a project for empty space in Newark, New Jersey. And again, they're doing amazing work there. They is spearheaded by Rebecca Jampol and Jasmine Wahi, in which they are providing toiletries for women in need. They have also, so it really speaks about what are the things that we're doing in our community. How can we help those who are doing the work too? Because sometimes it can be very daunting. Like, where do I even start? Where do I begin? And it's always exciting in university groups. What are the groups doing the work for the community? And having such an amazing exhibition like The Weight of the Body, in which it highlights the ongoing work. There's also right here in my town, the soup kitchens, volunteering. Maybe you have a lot on your plate, as everyone does right now. But an hour of volunteering goes a long, long way in helping organizations like to continue to do the work. I'm just going to fill this in. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. You can just kind of Okay. So there we have it. I didn't add any sewing element to this one, but I welcome you guys to. And here goes our 2 masks. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Nadia. I want to thank you for a close reading of the artist book, Runaway Girls, for connecting the artwork to the language surrounding women's suffrage. We also appreciate your explanation of the printmaking process, for sharing your artistic expertise and showing us how art making is an expression of our identity, our values, and our worldview. So that was really quite wonderful. I want to thank everyone who was able to attend. I want to encourage the students who are here with us today to check Pioneer Life for other Women's History Celebration events. There is a pod talk about women in math on Tuesday, March 16th at 12:30. There is a panel on women in business on Tuesday, March 16th at 5 p.m. I also want to encourage you to visit the university galleries. As Nadia mentioned, the exhibition, The Weight of the Body, is on view Tuesday to Thursday from 11 to 5. The exhibit closes on April 7th. And we have a brief survey that we welcome you to complete to get your feedback on this event and our virtual programs. But thank you everyone for being with us here today. And thank you again, Nadia, for leading this thoughtful, creative activity for us.
Thank you for having me, Kristen. Take care.